What's up guys, Chris here. This is the Fringe Sport Mammoth Hip Belt Squat with the free kickstand. Now, some things about this, basic details. It weighs 32 pounds and you can extend it out here depending on how you put these arms from 38 inches all the way up to 49 inches, which will affect how much of an arc you're experiencing as it goes up and down. This will attach to any size rack between a 2x2 to a 3x3, even including a 3x2. The holes will either fit either a 1-inch or a 5/8 inch, so you're pretty much covered with almost every single rack size. And the loading pin here is 14 inches tall, which means if you're using bumper plates, you're probably going to max out at 5 plates. But with the normal plates, unless you're a super strong, over 400-pound squatter, it should be enough for you. And like I said, it holds 900 pounds. It does wiggle a little bit, but that's going to come with the territory. Probably the most similar to this is the Rebel hip belt squat, and that one's shorter. I think it's like 30 inches in length, so you're a lot closer to the rack, get a greater arc. And then you would have like a Rogue Rhino, but that's well over $1,000. And there's other hip belt squats that take up a whole lot more room. Now you may be wondering, why did I purchase this? Well, the free kickstand, basically it's $249 plus the free kickstand, so with taxes like 270 bucks. Now I myself have done not one but 2 DIY hip belt squat videos, and the reason that even though those do work, I tend to stop using them after a while because of the setup. It takes a long time to get everything going. But with this is how quick this is to on and off it. You remove the little pin there, pull it out, and you can put it away. Just to put it right back, boom, right back into there. So it's a pretty easy setup, even though it took me longer than it should have. And you got your nice little safety device here. Just put that in, and there you go. Now I do wish that this came with an attachment. Editing Chris here. My rack only has holes on the front and back here and nothing on the side. That's what I'm talking about in this next section. Back to the video. This came with an attachment, so somehow you could have this be on the front of the rack and not have to kick it out to the side. The main reason being, most people who work out at home or in a garage and do have a rack like this, is you're going to be doing your bench pressing inside the rack just simply for safety concerns. We've all seen the videos where somebody almost chokes themselves to death because they fail on the bench press and don't have a spotter and don't have safety arms. So to do that, with most racks, you're going to leave the front end open because your bench is going to be wheeled in and out depending on whether you're squatting or bench pressing. And so you might not necessarily have 4 feet to the side that you can easily put this on. In fact, I had to rearrange this in my gym here because my space is 12 by 12, and so my butt was almost hitting the wall with how I had it. So now this is at an angle. Now this ships in 2 boxes. One box has the kickstand and one box is the equipment itself. They do have instructions on how to put it together. I didn't find the instructions to be that helpful. It took me about 40 minutes to put it all together, and that's because I put one of these arms on backwards the first time I did it. Now, considering that this rack was a multi-hour operation and my adjustable trainer or functional trainer also took 2 or 3 hours, you know, if I were to do this thing again, I bet I could put it together in 15 minutes tops. As a tip, use a socket set. It makes it a lot easier compared to the tools. And the kickstand here actually had no instructions whatsoever. But after you put this together and you've got the kickstand and it has 2 bolts, 4 washers, and 2 nuts, you can kind of figure out how it's just going to have to go. And so that was really a non-issue. This does come with your own Fringe Sport hip belt squat, which with many hip belt machines, they have nothing. So you're going to have having to get your own hip belt squat, like this one from Spud Inc., all yellow and dirty. I think this was 70 bucks that I bought years ago. But the nice thing about this hip belt squat is you've got 3 different loops that you can attach your carabiner to. So depending on how tall or how short you are, you may want to cinch this up a bit so that you don't have your butt hitting the floor while doing the hip belt squat. If you only go to parallel, not much of an issue, but if you do a true ass to grass hip belt squat, you're going to want to use the lowest one and possibly even elevate your feet 1 or 2 inches just to make sure you're clearing the ground. All right, just did my first ever true workout with the Fringe Sport hip belt squat here. Just some thoughts right away. Initially I was thinking I put this post too far away from here because I can move it at least one over, and I figured the weight might be too light. But I had 135 on there and I hit failure trying to get rep number 8, so no worries there about that. Second thing, very good thing to use a spacer here. I got a 5 pound in between, just makes it easier to lift the plates off when you're done. The third thing, I can still bottom this thing out. I figured that might be an issue because in squats I can normally go ass to grass. Fortunately, their hip belt squat, or their belt, I learn how to say that right. Their belt has multiple attachments, so I can cinch it up a bit. Unfortunately, the heavier weight you get on, the more this is going to stretch. Even as tough as a surface or type of fabric this is, it's going to stretch a little bit. So the more weight you add, the more the belt will stretch a little bit with each increase in weight. So I may need to go and put blocks underneath my feet or something just to raise myself up just a little bit higher. Also, it's far easier to have the belt and strap it onto here or hook it up than it is to just step into it, as you saw from there. But so far, initial thoughts, pretty good. I got a nice pump going in my quads. Low back doesn't feel bad at all, which I didn't think it would. And this kickstand is great. That's one of the reasons I bought it. This kitten who's chasing the thing, I'm finally recording it.